Okay. So yeah, welcome for today's Bhagavad Gita session. We'll continue from where we had stopped. Um, that is third chapter. We are in the third chapter and we are in verse number 3. So just to bring on the same page, the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita is where Arjuna is telling Krishna to take him in the middle of the battlefield to show him who all have come in the battle. And seeing his grandfather, father, relatives in the battlefield, he he thinks that all of them are going to die in this battle because this is not a party here. Here, life and death questions are uh, are are at stake, and so they are at stake, and I'm going to lose all of them. Getting this fear, he starts thinking that whether this taking part in the war, fighting, is all good activity or not. It's a ghastly activity. So many people will die. My own friends will die. My grandfather will die. My teacher will die. Those who are of the age of my parents, they will die. I mean, in this war, I see only reasons of destruction. After that, common people will also die. Then who will take care of their families? The women, they will be unprotected. Then who will take care of the children? They will be unprotected. Who will teach them what is right, what is wrong? You know. So all these questions came into his mind in the very first chapter, and he says, women will get polluted, then community projects, welfare works, they will get destroyed. The population that will come out of it will be uneducated, will be irreligious, immoral, ethical. So from that perspective, also social perspective, also he sees destruction. Then he turned to Krishna and he said, "You become my teacher, and I become your student." And then you tell me what is right to be done. So Krishna says, whatever decision we make in our life, we should make it from the very essence that we are. We are the embodied soul which passes through the many, many bodies, and at the time of death, completely passes through one body to another body. From that perspective, make the decision. And he explains that the soul gets new bodies due to karma, meaning the actions that we take. So we need to act in such a way that the cycle of birth and death will be stopped. Basically, we can get liberation even by our work. So um, he explained him about Gyan Yoga, Sankhya Yoga, that is the concept of soul. We are not this body but the soul. Then Karma Yoga, where we have to where we have to do our duties, whether we like it or not, and we have to do it for for the benefit of the people, and then we have to do it ultimately for the benefit of the soul by offering the result of our work to the Supreme Lord. And then he said that we have to use our intelligence, keep the abominable activities far away. Hearing this, Arjuna had a question which we started with. He says, abominable activities, this war is also abominable. It is very dangerous, Everything is so ghastly here. I want to avoid this. But at the same time, you're telling me, oh, I should fight. Which of the two is what is better? What are you trying to tell me, Krishna? So so that's where we are. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. Let's hear the answer. What exactly Krishna is trying to say when he says use your intelligence, keep the abominable activities far away. and do yoga. So for Arjuna, he thinks it means that I don't have to fight war. I can go and do yoga in the forest. But at the same time, Krishna also kept saying 9 times that you have to fight, you have to fight, you have to fight. Huh? It doesn't make sense, how these two things are going to happen. So let's see what Krishna has to here to answer. Any questions, comments, you can put it in the chat or interrupt and speak. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. Lokesmin dvi विधः निष्ठा पूर्व प्रोक्त मयाग्नगा ज्ञान योगेन सांख्यानाम कर्म योगेन योगिनाम. Translation: The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "O sinless Arjuna, I have already explained that there are two classes of men who try to realize the self. Some are inclined to understand it by empirical philosophical speculation, and others by devotional service." In the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, verse 39, the Lord explained two kinds of procedures: Sankhya Yoga and Karma Yoga or Buddhi Yoga. In this verse, Krishna, Lord explains that explains the same more clearly. Sankhya Yoga, or analytical study of the nature of spirit and matter, is the subject matter for persons who are inclined to speculate and understand things by experimental knowledge and philosophy. So basically, there are transcendentalists, there are people on spiritual path who are very, very intellectual, and they would give up everything and they would go into this experimental knowledge and philosophy, talk about philosophy, a lot of use their mind and intelligence deeply into thought. Okay, what exactly is this world? Who exactly I am? Sankhya means to count. And they would go on to each and every element and they would say, is this me or is this someone else? Is this my hand or I am different than my hand? Like this, they would spend their philosophy, argument, and all that. The other class of men, so the other set of transcendentalists who will work in Krishna consciousness, meaning they won't give up everything. But while living in this world, being a married people, doing their jobs, etc., taking care of children, everything, paying taxes, they can work in Krishna consciousness. They can still practice spiritual activities. So as it is explained in the 61st verse of the second chapter. So we'll just go there quickly. 61st verse of the second chapter. Okay. One who restrains his senses, keeping them under full control, and fixes his consciousness upon me is said to be a man of steady intelligence. Okay. The Lord has explained that also in the 39th verse that by working with the principles of Buddhi Yoga, Krishna consciousness, no one can be relieved from the bonds of action. Oh, sorry. One can be relieved from the bonds of action. So, like I said in the start, the soul gets new bodies. It depends on the karma that he's doing. Now, to get rid of the karma is there are two things. One is to philosophically debate, speculate, and come to the conclusion. Or while in this world, while doing our duty or material work, practice Krishna consciousness and come to perfection. Okay. In that also, you can be relieved from the bonds of action. And furthermore, there is no flaw in the process. There is nothing flaw. See, the flaw in the above process, that is philosophical thing, is you may not come to the conclusion. And second thing is, even you can fall down from that situation. But in this process, even if you fall down, you will start from where you are in your next life or in the next time that you get. The same principle is more clearly explained in 61st verse, that this Buddhi Yoga is entirely dependent on the Supreme and more specifically on Krishna. And in this way, all the senses can be brought under control very easily. Therefore, both the yogas are interdependent as religion and philosophy. So, philosophy should come to the conclusion of what the religion is saying, and the religion should also talk what the philosophy is saying. So, both are interdependent. Religion without philosophy is sentiment and sometimes fanaticism, while philosophy without religion is mental speculation. It's a very important statement where religion, a lot of people follow religion, but they don't have any philosophy. So that's why we see sometimes, people following religion, they are sometimes sentimentalist or they are fanatics. Fanatics means only my way or no other way. Sentimentalist means um, those who say, believe in superstitions. Many religious people, they believe in superstitions. Sentimentalism, nothing to do with philosophy, just a sentimentalism. You know, if any stone is painted orange, they will think, oh, here, there is something here. No, we need philosophy to practice religion. Otherwise, it will become sentimentalism. That is superstition, foolishness, or fanatism. I am only right, everybody else is wrong. And if there is philosophy, but if it doesn't have religion, it is not directing towards God, then it is just mental speculation. Mental speculation means without firm evidence. Speculation, like stock speculation. Tomorrow stock will go up or down, but in reality it goes the other way. So there is nothing firm evidence in that. It's just a speculation. So if the philosophy is not directed towards God, then it is just mental speculation. So we need both. We need religion and we need philosophy. Just like we are discussing Bhagavad Gita, and on the side we are practicing religion also. So if you're practicing ritual, say, simple ritual like offering agarbatti or diya to the Lord, to Lord Krishna's picture or deity. Now, if philosophy is not there, how will you explain what are you doing? Right? So many people do arti, but can they explain why they are doing? What is this meaning? If I ask you, what is the meaning of arti?
Hello.
Yeah, tell me.
Uh, Aarti would be in praise of the Lord. You compose a poem or uh,
Okay, poem
in
in praise of the Lord.
front of the Lord. Yes,
And what
and
more?
thanking the Lord and
Okay,
seeking blessings,
thanking the Lord
seeking
and
blessings.
seeking blessings. But people have more questions, right? They say, why agarbatti? I can do without things, right? Why lamp? Why offer flowers? Now, what is the philosophy behind this?
It is when we light agarbatti, it is to create an ambience for any process. There is an ambience which is required. So
Hmm.
your senses would be totally focused on the activity or on the devotion that it after some time it would be wavered off. You need not have all of it, and yet
Okay,
you would be into that
okay,
phase.
okay. Why lamp?
Focus again, lamps, light, bright. It's a significant symbolism of offering.
Okay, why flowers?
Freshness, offering, which is
Hmm.
colorful, bright. Again, all of them create an ambience and a purity which
Okay,
can pass from external to internal that way.
okay. Ambience for spiritual purpose, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay. If I ask you where where do you get this understanding that it's for ambience? Which is the philosophy?
I it is rooted in the culture.
Okay, you say
You've seen your
culture.
mother doing it, you've seen
Ha.
your
Okay,
grandmother
okay.
doing it.
Where you're getting the understanding of Aarti. So your answer is culture.
Culture.
Culture, parents. Okay.
Yeah.
But which book? Which scripture? That answer do you have?
A certain, they say, dhoop, Dhoop Deep,
Yeah, that's
Dhoop
fine. I'm
Deep.
asking
This
which
is
is the
actually
book, which is the scripture.
in Vedas. It is there, no, in all our poetries, and I'm not sure, sir. I'm not sure,
Yeah. So
but
this is what I'm trying to come out.
yeah.
We are taking philosophy from culture and parents, but
Hmm.
not from the Vedas.
Hmm.
So that's where we need the Vedic philosophy. Now I'll show you. I'll tell you the exact reasons why we do these things. Ambience is right. Ambience answer is right. There are many more things. Agarbatti represents earth. Lamp represents fire. Flowers represents fragrance. It also represents earth. It also represents smell. Hmm. Okay. So we there are five types of energies: earth, water. We also offer water. We also so earth, water, fire, air, ether. These are five types of energies. Where are we? um, I'm taking earth, water, fire, air, my energies. Sorry, I don't remember the 7.4. Okay, 7.4. So Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. So you should be able to point out what are we doing, where are we doing. So this is the verse. Bhagavad Gita 7.4 Bhumi rapo nalo vayu kham muno buddhi revacha ahankara itiyam me bhinna prakriti akshruta. So air, water, fire, mind, intelligence, false ego all together constitute my separated material energies. So these are Krishna's energies. Whose energy? These are Krishna's energy belonging to Lord Krishna. Okay. Now another is where does flower is said to be offered. I'll show you that also. Patram pushpam phalam toyam yome bhaktya prayachati. Ninth chapter, I think. Okay. 9.26. Patram pushpam phalam toyam yome bhaktya prayachati tadaham bhakti upaharitam ashnami prayatnatmanaha. One who offers with love, devotion, a leaf, a flower, fruit, or water, I will accept it. So why we are offering these things? Because it is in the Bhagavad Gita, because it is in the Shastras. The Pancharatrika Vidhi, they tell why we offer. So if you have you ever visited Ganga or any holy river?
Yes,
Yeah.
I have.
Yeah.
I have.
So how do they worship that holy river?
Yeah, offering
What they
flowers, offering
yeah, and
the dhoop they offer.
yeah, and
Mm.
there is something very peculiar that happens over there.
They put a lamp inside the river, no?
That's fine. Lamp, dhoop, agarbatti, that is all
And
there.
they
Huh.
play the cymbals and
Okay.
loud.
Now, those who enter into the water, what are they doing? How do they worship? Those who enter into the water.
They take it in their
Tell me,
not
tell me, tell me. Yes.
what we call it, onzal, like in their
You're
hands,
Marathi,
and then they
right?
offer it.
You're
Yes,
Marathi.
yes, yes,
So
yes.
what do they do?
They offer.
ते
They
पाणी कसं
take
काढतात?
ओंझळीतून
बघ,
असं वर
yeah.
बरोबर
But where do they get this water?
This is from there only, no,
There
Ganga
only.
only.
Oh, yeah. So what is the worship? Offering
Water,
Ganga's water
Ganga,
to Ganga.
Ganga. Right,
This is how the main. If you don't have flower, if you don't have anything, we can just offer Ganga's water back to Ganga.
right.
Similarly, Krishna's energy we are offering to Krishna in the form of arti. Earth, agarbatti. Water as water. Fire as lamp. Air as the chamara.
Hmm.
Ether, ether as a sound.
Hmm.
Like that. And then we are offering clothes, we are offering. So what are we doing? We are doing the same thing how we worship Mother Ganga by offering the energy of Ganga back to Ganga.
Hmm.
Yeah, so this is called philosophy. Now you don't, now you can, now you're not dependent on parents and culture. Now you know which is the shloka? 7.6, I
Four.
think, and
Six.
9.26. Was it 4? Yeah, it was 4. You can now point out, oh, it is said in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says this thing. Patram Pushpam Phalam Tami, where it is happening here. So this is philosophy, where we can easily point out where things are.
Hmm.
Just like in a court of justice, advocates, what they do, they point out law
The
numbers.
laws
Yeah, they
of
point out the
Penal.
laws
Yeah,
and they point
IPC.
out the numbers
Penal Code.
in the penal code, right?
Yes. Yes.
Now, if the advocates, barrister, if they say, oh, there is a law like this, then the judge will ask in which penal code, what is the number of it? What is the section of it? And if they cannot point out, the judge will say, no, your argument is not strong.
Hmm.
Similarly, if you go back, where are we? Yeah. Similarly, if we are doing religion, but we don't have philosophy, then it is just a sentimentalism or fanaticism. We are seeing the whole terrorist because of that. They are fanatics because there is no philosophy. There is only religion. My way is the best way, no other way. I can kill innocent people on the name of it. But does the philosophy support that?
No.
No. But they don't take help of philosophy. They only running after religion. Now, what happens if religion is not there, just philosophy is there? Then it is just a mental speculation. That's what, so that's how we need to understand. We need both. Okay.
True. True.
Yeah. Yeah. You can mute.
Okay.
There's a lot of
Yeah.
noise. So yeah. So that's why we need both. We need religion and philosophy. Where if somebody challenges us, we can really come out and say, oh, this is the number. This is the number. And we can say why we are doing things. Why we are doing what we are doing. Right. So that's why we need philosophy. But if we had just philosophy, but we are not doing anything, then it's a waste of time. It's like somebody coming and say, I know how to ride a horse because I have read 50 books on how to ride a horse. Does that qualify him to ride a horse? No. You have to actually practically do it. So that's where one should not be in mental speculation. One should do the activity also. So religion is like kind of activity, and philosophy is kind of the backing why we are doing this. What is the purpose behind it? If we don't know the purpose, then our ritual remain a ritual. But if we want the ritual to become spiritual, we need to know the purpose and have the intent in our heart. If you do any puja, the Brahmana first says what you have to do? Sankalpa. Sankalpa means what? We are setting the purpose and we are setting the intent in our heart. We are telling our prayer in our heart. And then we do the ritual. Then that whole process becomes spiritual. Okay. So let's move forward. So the ultimate goal is Krishna, because the philosophers who are also sincerely searching after the absolute truth come in the end to Krishna consciousness. So goal is Krishna. If philosophy is not there, they will never understand goal is Krishna. We'll keep doing the religion. But if only philosophy is there, but no action is there, still we will not understand Krishna. We need both. This is also stated in Bhagavad Gita. The whole process is to understand the real position of the self in relation to the super self. Our whole process. So religion comes from a word religious. Religious means to go back, and yoga is also meaning the same thing, to join back. So we are joining back to whom? We are joining back to the supreme spiritual self. So our real self is spiritual. We are Atma. We are joining back to super self in a relationship that we have forgotten. So the indirect process is philosophical speculation, by which gradually one comes to the point of Krishna consciousness. So there are those who will use philosophy, and they will keep discussing, arguing, and all that, and over a period of time, which may take lifetimes also, they'll come to this point of Krishna consciousness. Oh, Krishna is everything. They'll come to this. And the other process that we are talking about, Karma Yoga, is directly connecting with Krishna and Krishna consciousness. Whether we are pure, impure, whatever, we can directly connect to Krishna consciousness. Of the two paths, the path of Krishna consciousness is better. So where we directly connect to Krishna consciousness, even if we are not qualified, that is better. That is what Krishna is saying. Because it does not depend on purifying the senses by philosophical process. It doesn't wait us that, okay, until you become fully purified, then you can practice. No, it doesn't wait for that. It says you can immediately do that. Krishna consciousness is itself the process, purifying process, and by the direct method of devotion service, it is simultaneously easy and sublime. So in Krishna consciousness, the medium and the goal are same. Just like we are say traveling to Delhi. Now we are on the road to Delhi, but we cannot say the road is Delhi. Can we say the road Delhi? No. We need to actually come to Delhi to say, yeah, I have arrived in Delhi. We can only say I am on the road to Delhi. But Krishna consciousness is not that kind of road. Is itself the destination and the goal and the medium itself, both together. That is the amazing thing of Krishna consciousness. So therefore, one need not wait till he becomes purified to start spiritual life. No, he can start it in his impure state also, and he can slowly uh, move ahead. Like I will take the example of Valmiki Rishi, who wrote Ramayana, right? Author of Ramayana. So in his previous life, he was a dacoit, very cruel person. He used to kill people and all. But then he came into contact with Narad Muni, and he understood the karma philosophy, karma action. He understood that, and then he wanted to rectify. He said, I don't want to suffer again, because I gave suffering. I may have to suffer again, but I don't want to do that. Then he said, you chant the holy name of Lord Ram. But because he had killed so many people, he couldn't even chant Ram. So he started with Mara, right? Mara, Maram, Ram, Ram, and then it became, after a long time chanting, it became Ram. So the process, the goal is to come to Ram, and he was given directly the holy name of Lord Ram. Even though he started with the ulta, opposite way, Mara, he still came to the right way. And you can see that what was given to him at start was actually achieved at the end also. So the goal and the medium is same. Does this make sense? Goal and the medium is same. Does this make sense? How Krishna consciousness, the goal and the medium is same.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's why Krishna consciousness is superior. Thus, work in Krishna consciousness is superior. Okay. So that's why Krishna says you work in Krishna consciousness. Let's go for next and we'll see. Now why work is superior and all that? Krishna gives some more explanation. Na karmanan anarambhan naishkarman purusho ashnute natsa sannyasana eva siddhim samadhi gacchati. Nor not by merely abstaining from work can one achieve freedom from reaction, nor by renunciation alone can one attain perfection. So some think, I won't do any work. That is spiritual life. But actually, they are wrong. Actually, they are wrong. You don't. You have to do something to get that job. And some say, I will give up everything. Then I will achieve perfection. That is also wrong. We have to use it in Krishna's service. That is the key here. That is the real understanding. We will read further. So Krishna is going to um, clarify more into this. Okay, so the renounced order of life can be accepted when one has been purified by the discharge of prescribed form of duties, which are laid down just to purify the hearts of the materialistic men. So, who can get sannyas unless his heart is purified? How to purify our heart? If the prescribed duty is done very strictly, then there is detachment, and then ultimately one can give up and take sannyas. So, important point is to do our duty and to get purified. Without purification, one cannot attain success by abruptly adopting the fourth order of sun life, that is sannyas. So there are some people who are frustrated in life and they take sannyas, and then it doesn't work for them. They fall down to some woman, or they do scams. They only collect money in the name of religion by wearing saffron clothes, orange clothes. Why? Because their heart is still not purified. They want to enjoy, so they use religion to enjoy. And that's how we see so many fake gurus. They are being caught, and so scams are coming out, abuse cases are coming out. You were supposed, person on the spiritual path was supposed to be self satisfied, right? Then why are you not satisfied? Why are you thinking, I need to enjoy that woman, I need to abuse, I need to collect money, right? So because their heart is not purified, their heart is still impure with all the desires. So therefore Krishna says we cannot accept sannyas without being purified. According to the empirical philosophy, simply by adopting sannyas or retiring from fruitive activity, one at once become as good as Narayana. But Lord Krishna does not approve this principle. We can never become Narayana. We can become Narayan Das. We can become servant of Krishna. Without purification of heart, sannyasi is simply a disturbance to the social society, social order. Right? If a sannyasi falls down, unfortunately, we come to know he did some scam, this, that. It is very painful, no? People lose faith in religion. They say, "Ye sab, all bakwas." These people, they were supposed to be self-satisfied, not attracted to material life, and now they are running after women, they're running after power and all that. On the other hand, if someone takes to transcendental loving or service, even without discharging his prescribed duties, whether he may be able to advance his in the cause is accepted by the Lord. Buddhi Yoga. Swalpampi dharmasya trayato mahato bhayat. Even a slight performance of such a principle enables one to overcome great difficulties. So whether one is pure or not pure, but it takes to the process of Krishna consciousness, work in Krishna consciousness, and not to the process of the Sankhya philosophy, but to actually practically work. Then even a slight performance is enough to achieve perfection. Can you think of some example from Ramayana? Slight performance was done and it was achieved perfection. There are two examples that come to mind.
Sabris.
Yeah, Shabri is also good. She actually did tapasya and all that. I agree. There is something who didn't do any tapasya, but slight performance and he got success. He tried to save Sita from Ravana, and in that he died. What was that bird's name?
Jatayu.
Yeah.
Jatayu.
So who was Jatayu? He was a
Hmm.
vulture. What do vultures do? They eat
Scavenge.
dead animals.
Scavengers.
Yeah, scavengers mean they eat dead animals.
Hmm.
Now, such a person, he never did any ritual, nothing. He's eating dead animals. You can imagine. But what did he do? Tried to save Sita. Did he become successful or not? He
Hmm.
failed, big failure. But then Lord Ram sent him back home, back to Godhead. He was very happy with him that he tried and sent him,
Vaikunta.
yeah, to Vaikunta. What did he do? He ate dead animals, ultimately went to Vaikunta. Is it possible? No, but it's only possible if we work in Krishna consciousness. So he got a very rare opportunity to directly work for Lord Ram personally in trying to save Sita and failing in that. So as a bird, he tried to save Sita. Just by doing that work, he pleased Lord Ram and he was sent to Vaikunta. So, so alpam. By little attempt, he got perfection. Okay. We'll go to 3.5. Nahit kashyat shanam api jatu tishtati akarma krit karyate hi avasha karma sarvah prakriti jai gune. Everyone is forced to act helplessly according to the qualities he has acquired from the modes of material nature. Therefore, no one can refrain from doing, and not even for a moment. So, these modes of nature, this sattva gun, tamagun, rajagun, they are given to us. And we are active from the day we are born, right? So, how can we give up this activeness? We cannot give up. So, better we do something actively, constructively active, right? We are frustrated with children because they are doing destruction by being active. But if you put them in some construction activity, like drawing or building some small toy out of it, or cutting vegetables, the parent will be happy, right? They'll say, "Are great thing. You want to be active." Like yesterday, my son, he's 8 years old. He wants to be active, and he didn't know what to do. But he then got a broom and he started, cleaning the terrace. And all the dry leaves he collected, he threw away. So for almost half an hour, he was completely engaged and he was not disturbing any household activity. Then we are happy, right? So the point is, we all of us want to be some active. We want to be some actively doing something. We are not just sitting people, right? But if we actively do it for the pleasure of the Lord, then um, that is the best thing. So Krishna is also saying, you by nature we want to be active. How can we be inert then? And then without doing something, can we sustain ourselves? No, right? We have to do work to sustain ourselves. Okay. It is not a question of embodied life, but it's the nature of the soul to be always active. It is the nature of the soul to be always active. Without the presence of the spirit soul, the material body cannot move. The body is only a dead vehicle to be worked by the spirit soul. So body is like a car. The spirit soul sits in it like a driver and then drives it around, which is always active and cannot stop even for a moment. So the driver, is the driver active or the car active? If I ask you this question, who is active? The driver is active or car is active? Say the car,
Both. Both.
say the car traveled 10,000 kilometers in a day, or let's say in a week. Who was active? Car was active or driver was active?
Both were active.
But who was the original cause of that activeness?
Driver. The driver.
Yeah, car on its own cannot move, right?
True.
So the driver is driving the car. Tomorrow he may take some other car, and that car which drove for 10,000 kilometers remained there only. But the other car he drove for 100,000 kilometers. So who is active? The driver is active. No? Similarly, the soul is active. It is driving this body. And at the time of death, when the body becomes completely, what to say, it's completely destroyed, in sense you can't just do anything out of it. Then the soul moves into another body, and that process we call as death. Then it becomes a baby in some other body and becomes active over there. As such, the spirit soul has to be engaged in good work of Krishna consciousness. So, like I gave the example of child, right? They have to be engaged in some good work. Similarly, because they are just active, right? So therefore, we also as a soul, we should also be active in the good work of Krishna consciousness. In contact with material energy, the spirit soul acquires material modes, and to purify the soul from such affinities, it is necessary to engage in the prescribed duties enjoined in the Shastras. So our Shastra says how to be active. So they will give us the prescribed duties and we have to just follow. But if the soul is engaged in his natural function of Krishna consciousness, whatever he is able to do is good for him. The Srimad Bhagavatam 1.7.5.17 affirms this. If one takes to Krishna consciousness, even though he may not follow the prescribed duties in the Shastra or execute devotional service properly. Like I gave you the example of Jatayu. Did Jatayu do any arti? No. Did Jatayu clean his mouth? No. Did Jatayu eat vegetarian food? No. But he took to Krishna consciousness. By working for Krishna, he took to that for even a slight moment. How much that war between Jatayu and Ravana would have fought? Maybe half an hour. So only for that half an hour, he did devotional service. But he got the rare opportunity to do direct service to Sita and direct service to Ram. He got that rare opportunity. Not everybody gets that. And in that, he got perfection. He got Vaikuntha planets. For us, we have to do devotional service for one lifetime, two lifetime, three lifetime, and then we can go back and back to God. For him, it was just half an hour fight and done. He packed his bag and went back and back to God. Um, Even though he may fall down from the standard, there is no loss or evil for him. So even though one may be a failure, like Jatayu, he failed, he tried to save, but he got failed. Look at Hanuman, he won always. No, because he tried, that that was enough for him to go back and back to God. But if he carry out all the injunctions for purification shastra, what does it avail him if he is not Krishna consciousness? So if we practice the shastras, whatever is there in the shastras, but if we don't become Krishna conscious, we don't understand that, oh, everything is meant to serve Krishna. The ultimate goal is Krishna. If you don't come to that consciousness, then it's a waste actually. So the purificatory process necessary for reaching to this point of Krishna consciousness. Therefore, sannyasa or any other purificatory process to help the ultimate goal of becoming Krishna consciousness, without which everything is considered a fail. 3.6. Sorry. Okay. Okay. So this is the next verse, but we have only like 4 or 5 minutes left. So let's open up for some questions or comments. Any question or comment you want to ask on today's topic or any other topic?
Um, Vipulji, there was one thing that you were referring to in the beginning.
Hmm.
It says that there is sometimes a lot of dichotomy in most of the things. Like you do your duty, and if you don't do also, so for example, like while doing duty, you are doing the duty, the right path or right way, you know. But at times, there is sometimes no right or wrong. It is the question of, being there and doing it.
Okay.
Also, it is incorrect. If you do also, it is. Certain moments like that are there,
Right.
So,
What to do? Hmm?
which shloka gives you a, like,
Okay.
on what
Sure.
basis? Like I have kept for myself ki, if there are two things which will govern. It should be truthful and it should be correct.
Okay.
But there are a lot of times something is truthful, but it is not the correct way or correct time to speak those truthful things,
Okay.
or to defend that truth.
Sure. So yeah, so this is also discussed in Bhagavad Gita in the 18th chapter, 47th verse and the 48th verse. We'll just read the translation, we'll understand.
It is better to engage in one's own
See,
occupation.
first thing is every endeavor is covered by some fault. Whatever we
Mm.
work we do, there will be some fault in it. Like a salesperson.
Mm.
Salesperson has to say some lie to get his product sold. like
Mm.
if you see all the advertisement, even if they are selling biscuits, they will show that, oh, by selling biscuit you will get a girlfriend. So many advertisement is like that. A man gets a woman, and then there is in their hand there's a biscuit. Now all children are
Mm.
eating biscuit, all men are eating biscuit, all women are eating biscuit, but does that happen that way? After eating biscuit, you get a girlfriend. Or you start dancing, you start or doing fresh brush. The toothpaste says, you'll feel fresh. Do we really feel fresh? You buy the same toothpaste and you do that, and on a very sad day you're still sad. You're never fresh. But they will ad will show, oh, so when they are doing sales and all that, there will be some fault in their work. Just as fire is covered by smoke, fire is there. We need fire, but sometimes it is covered by smoke, and smoke blinds us, disturbs us. But what we should do, therefore, one should not give up the work born of his nature. Still, one should do those work, even if there is some fault. Oh, son, even if such of work is full of faults. Okay. Second thing is, sometimes we think, okay, I am doing this particular duty, but if I do someone else's duty, then is that beneficial? Krishna says, no, you do your duty. It is, what is it? It is better to engage in one's own occupation, even though one may perform it imperfectly. Interesting, right? Imperfectly. Even if you perform it imperfectly, it is better to do our own duty than to accept another's duty and perform it perfectly. Duties prescribed according to one's nature are never affected by sinful reactions. You do your duty according to your qualification. And even if you're not perfect in it, still continue doing that. I'll give you an example. See, a doctor is there, and a practicing doctor is there, or let's say a trainee doctor is there. Now, trainee doctor trains under a doctor who has great experience, right? So there is one nice story which says that there was a veterinarian doctor, and he had this trainee doctor with him. So once he was called that, the horse has having some problem in the neck. So then the doctor went and he looked at the horse neck had bulged, and the horse was having some pain. So he looked in his mouth, he touched it, he touched the bulge, and then he used a hammer and he hammered the neck. With one, two hammer, suddenly the neck bulge went away. And then the trainee doctor saw all this and he said, wow, just by a hammer, the horse got cured. So the next day, the trainee doctor was there and he got a phone call that some other horse has some problem. And that time the real doctor was not there. So the trained doctor said, yes, I'll come, I'll come. I know. So when he comes, he sees same issue. The neck is bulged. And then he thinks, okay, I have to just hit him now. And he uses the hammer and tries hitting the horse. But the pain is increasing. The pain is not going away. And it is not treating. So what was the problem? The problem was that he he crossed his qualification, his adhikar, his his limit. Because he's a trainee doctor, and he didn't fully understand what the diagnosis was. So the actual diagnosis was the previous horse had a watermelon piece stuck in the neck. So with the hammer, he broke it. So it was not a problem. It was just a food that was stuck. So he just broke it. The real doctor just broke it with the hammer. But the new horse had actually a problem of some boil or bulge. It was not a problem of the watermelon. So that time you don't need to hit it. You have to do something else. So, but the trainee doctor thought, now I know everything. I can do the job of the doctor. But then he failed. So the point is, according to our qualification, according to our limit, according to our adhikar, the real word is adhikar. We should do our own duty than doing anyone else's duty. With
Sure.
these two, it will help you to understand But the
Yes.
for the first thing is, we do have to do our duty with honesty and truthfulness. Okay, but still
Yes.
our endeavor will have some fault, and for that we should not give up the work, but try to rectify it and try to do the best. We should not sell a false item, saying
Hmm.
that I will give you a shoes, but then you give a chappal. No, that is completely illegal. That is completely wrong. But you can say your chappal is very soft, too soft like a feather. It may not be actually soft like a feather, but it is soft.
Yeah.
But you just exaggerated it. That is allowed. That fault is allowed. Otherwise, you cannot even do your work.
Sure. Sure.
Okay. So,
Thank
okay.
you.
So, the last point I will say is how to take a decision, what to follow, what not to follow.
Hmm.
Because I told you the shloka, but does it mean that we have to do like this always? No, we need guidance. Okay. So, even though these two shlokas exist, we have to take the help of the third person who is our guru, who is a wise person. And then we should ask, there is some fault in this. There is something that I can do better in something else. Should I do or not? So the real answer is actually to take guidance from the guru, and then see whether this fault is to be is like okay, it can be waived, or the another occupation can it be taken or not. Like a brahmana has to do yagya, he has to do puja pathan and everything, but he can take another occupation. What is that? Teacher's occupation. He can take a teacher's occupation, but can he take fighting occupation? No. Can he take occupation of a business? No. So in a consultation with the guru or with a wise person or with learned scholars, you can then decide whether that activity is good or not. I have another story to tell, but right now we don't have
Yes.
time. But so the point is, we need to take help
Right. Right.
from a guru,
Right.
not from
Yes.
any Tom, Dick, and Harry or person on the street, but from a guru who's well established. And then we can actually get a solution. Okay?
Thank you. Thank
Okay.
you, Hare Krishna.
Okay, Hare Krishna. So we'll stop here
Thank you.
and we will meet next week.
Yes.
Um,